So hi, everybody. Welcome to our January webinar. We're going to be covering the P3-35 amplifier today. With that being said, we are recording the webinar, so please put your questions in the chat, and we'll be sure to answer those as we go through the call today. With that, I'll hand this over to Jason and we'll get started.
Thank you, Taylor. By the way, thank you everybody for being on the call this morning on a cold winter morning here. I'm in Texas. Mike and Taylor in lovely Kansas City, and we were just talking about the Bills and Chiefs game this weekend, so that should be an interesting game to watch. Speaking of that, I want to kind of thank everybody for being on the call this morning. As Taylor said, we are recording it, so we can share this with you later on as well. But we really want to kind of help you reach out to a lot more customers with some new products, and we want to show you one particularly called the P3-35. Mike, you want to hit the next slide? So this P3-35 is part of our family of products and solutions that we offer. And a lot of people don't know necessarily of the MSC brand name, but we're sound tube for our commercial series of products, PhaseTech for residential solutions, and rock acoustics for outdoors. And, we have a kind of a saying is a sound solution for every need. And we want to be able to offer you a lot more solutions to your customers, whether it be an outdoor application, the residential or commercial. Next slide. And that involves in talking about who we are as a company, and what you do as integrators and dealers is important because you're our interface to that customer, to the end user, and our products are not successful unless if it's dealers like you putting our products out there, making it work right, connecting it to the proper amplifiers and sound, and doing your best to give that experience to your customers of a positive atmosphere, I should say. But our brands we offer are Solid Drive, Rock Acoustics, SoundSphere for commercial. PhaseTech has been around since 1955. Our induction dynamics speakers, as well as products from SoundTube. And our overall emphasis is a lot of our products are actually manufactured in the United States. I would say probably around 70% of our products are actually manufactured here, either in Jacksonville, Florida, or Kansas City. Some of the pictures you see here are from our facilities in Lenexa and Jacksonville. So we try to make sure we're building the right products for you, but it's not just manufacturing, but it's our designing and engineering team that's being done here in the United States. And that's important because we want to give you the best possible product that we can. So next slide. So what is the P3-35? It's a small amplifier. It's small enough to fit behind your TV. And our business has kind of shifted in the last several years, where a lot of customers really just want to see the TV on the wall, and they don't really want a bunch of black boxes stacked up next to the TV. They want to see that TV and their interfaces, their remote control. Those are really kind of the two things that they see, but they want better sound. You're putting a 75, 85, sometimes even 90-inch TVs on the wall, and the sound quality is nowhere near as good as the picture quality. The picture quality has gotten better, but in some cases the sound has gotten worse. So we want to help you with that. Hit the next slide. And that's going to be with this P3-35. So there's kind of a close-up shot image of it. And if you want, hit the next slide. This will show you kind of the bullets of what is the P3-35. As I mentioned, it's perfect behind flat panel televisions. It can be done as a 3.1 or 2.1 amplifier, selectable for either 35 watts times 3 or 50 watts times 2. It can be used as with high pass, low pass output at 120 hertz. It has analog, optical, or Bluetooth input, subwoofer output, but also has learning IR as well as RS-232 control. So this is a really great product that you can take out to your customers. And we're calling this the 1-hour install because you have a lot of existing customers that you've done work for in the past. This is a good opportunity to get back to those customers and sell them something new. Next slide. So what is that opportunity? And really what we're trying to help you with is appeal to a new market customer. The chassis receiver amplifier business is not quite as great as what it was in years past. And not every home has all the wires running back to a wiring closet. But also as installers, you're trying to find new ways of revenue. This appeals to retrofit applications, existing homes that want additional sound to flat panel TVs. But the other thing too is some of our integrators are facing this DIY world of, hey, thank you for telling me about that, but I bought a sound bar, order off Amazon and hung it up on the wall and does okay. Or, you know, that whole DIY world has taken away the custom appeal. So we want to give you that product that now you can say, let me give you something that's good custom quality that gives you fantastic sound to match with this fantastic picture that you have on this new TV. So the flexibility to offer better sound for more rooms, that is the other advantage of this product, because you can now go back to those customers and not just put sound in the family room, but the master bedroom, the kids room, the game room. And as I said earlier, it's the 1 hour install that we want to appeal to. Next slide. So what are the current market conditions? We want to address this because a lot of new homes are not always completed with all the products originally specified. If you've bought a house or built a house in the last 3 or 4 years, you know that sometimes the money on the budget runs out. You know, maybe it got spent on landscaping or the pool, or you know, there was a lot of new furniture being bought. Well, that budget sometimes does not allow you to get everything done that you want for your AV system. So if you're an installer now and you've been doing new homes, if you've wired the system for that house, there might have been 2 or 3 rooms that were left out when that house was being trimmed out. This is a perfect opportunity for you to go back to your customers and say, hey, I got something new we can help you with on your existing, you know, in the master bedroom, in the kids room, in the game room, in the kitchen, and give you much better sound. And we don't have to crawl around in the attic, but also too, we can go in and give you that easier functionality too, with very little money, but also a lot more flexible features. So the budget limitations, like I said, do not allow a lot of customers to do additional rooms. This gives you that chance to go back and see that customer you did their work for a year, 2 years, maybe even 3 years ago. But also go back real quick. So the part of what we want to do is, like I said, we want to appeal to the balance of the bigger, better picture that matches that great sound. Next slide. So this is the P3-35 that you see here, and it can be tied into a passive soundbar. So if you're already using soundbars now, a lot of times you're having to run those wires for that soundbar back to the equipment cabinet. And some people say, well, hey, I want to put a soundbar in my bedroom. Well, we didn't wire for that to pull sound back to the bedroom. Now you have a chance to do that. So with this, you simply take, before you put the TV up, you put this back behind the amplifier behind the TV, plug it in here, and now this drops down and connects to your soundbar. You can also run an RCA down the wall and connect it to a subwoofer. And you'll notice the TSB 3.0 is our 3-channel soundbar. And then the HV101LP is our low profile subwoofer. It's 6 inches tall. On here, and this unit is 150 watts of power. It can mount horizontally, vertically, underneath a cabinet, behind a cabinet, next to a cabinet out of the way. Really low profile, clean design. And then if you look at the next slide, you don't have to do the sound bar, but you can do our in-wall speakers. And this is very easy to do in a retrofit because you can cut your holes for your speakers, run your wires over towards behind the TV. Very easy to do in a retro application. Connect this to your amplifier, select your dip switches for 2-channel or 3-channel, connect it to your sub, and you're ready to go. Next slide. So this is what it looks like in a finished project, where you have your speakers in the white grills, real nice, clean, custom design, very appealing to your customer. And I think they like this a lot better because, as you see, it's not a bunch of boxes of electronics everywhere. It's simple and easy to use. And that's the other thing that a lot of customers want, is they want something simple and easy to operate. They want to be able to turn that TV on and not have to turn on 4 or 5 other things and change the setting or do anything else. This product does a lot of that for you. Next slide. So as I said earlier, the benefits, it's a great way to connect to past customers. It's very modular, a 2.0, 2.1, 3.0, 3.1 application. It works with most speakers and subwoofers. You know, we make a lot of really great in-wall and in-ceiling speakers and sound bars, and we'd love for you to buy a lot of our products. But if you already have speakers that you're using now, or your customer has speakers already, you can connect this to it. So, you know, this gives you a lot of opportunities. It helps send that custom message away from the DIY solutions, and also another opportunity to upsell. I use this as an opportunity because if you get it back into your customers' homes, not only do you get to sell them this amplifier, but you get a chance to sell them additional remotes, lighting, shades, other items like that. And like I said, other additional rooms that might not have been specified before. And then also, we're seeing a new trend in our world in cord cutting. A lot of installers here are seeing customers who are saying, well, my homeowner wants to pull out their Dish Network or the Direct TV box, and they want to go just streaming with YouTube TV or Hulu Plus or whatever. Well, you're getting back in there. This is a perfect opportunity to sell them this product and engage with them on this as well as other solutions. So right now, over the next year or two, you're going to start seeing a lot of those customers who are wanting to make those changes. And what better way to offer them new products when you're in there kind of helping them in the cord cutting process? Next slide. Mike, is this you?
Yes, it is. So at this point, I'll kind of go a little more technical, in depth on what the amplifier offers, what it can do, various features and specs and that kind of thing. Jason did kind of touch on a couple of these. Um, but to start, one of the big things we're really going with here is the small form factor and how easy it is to put it behind a TV. Uh, Out of the box, it does include a double-sided adhesive, so you can even just stick it to the back of the TV if you don't want to mount it. Obviously, actually mounting it is a lot more permanent, but that adhesive works just fine. We've had people install them all kinds of places with the adhesive. Um, it's got both analog, stereo mini, and digital optical inputs, so you can just easily run an optical cable directly from your TV to the amp, or you can use the old-fashioned stereo mini if you want to as well. It's got IR learning, so the main benefit of this is we don't want people to have to add an extra remote. There's already enough remotes floating around, enough equipment. You can program your TV remote to control the volume of the amplifier. So you can just use your standard remote that you would for any other function on the TV. There's no reason to add a separate remote. There's a subwoofer out. Like Jason said, it's easy to incorporate a powered subwoofer. You just run an RCA cable directly from the amp to a powered subwoofer or an external sub amp. Maybe you have in-wall subwoofers powered off something like our P350 amplifier. It's real easy just to run an RCA cable. It's got Bluetooth functionality. One of the benefits of this is if you have a great setup in, say, a living room or something with this P3-35, there's no reason that audio system should only be used for TV, movies, things like that. You can connect your phone right to it, play music, anything like that. That way you're not limited to just whatever's being streamed from a TV. It's got Dolby Digital decoding as well. So it's really great sound for in a small package and for smaller systems rather than like a dedicated home theater or media room type thing. To get into a couple additional specs and features, like Jason said, it's got 2 channels at 50 watts, or you can switch it to 3 channels at 35 watts. So not everyone has a center channel. If you just have a left and right, you get a little more power out of it. But if you do have a center channel or like a 3-channel soundbar, like our TSB 3.0 or things like that, you can flip it into 3-channel mode, and the amp will mix the signal into a left, center, and right. It's got great response, 10 hertz up to 20 kilohertz, so you don't lose any of that source content. It replicates it exactly as it was intended. Again, the minimal on-wall depth, it can fit behind almost any TV. It can go in a cabinet. It can go behind the TV stand or I guess the entertainment center, anything like that. It's not something that requires a full equipment rack. It's got several protection features, soft clipping, short circuit, overload, all that good stuff. Standby and sleep mode, so it will go into a sleep mode and have an auto signal sensing circuit, so when you power up your TV, it'll kick back on. And now I'd like to look at the specific features, connectors, all that on the front panel. So on our far left there, we've got our power input. We've got an included 32-volt power supply that comes with the amplifier. Going toward the right there, that's where you plug in the external IR sensor for when you program the TV remote to it. Then we've got the sub and line out RCA out connector, the RS-232 control, and then we've got the speaker outputs here. And while we're on the topic of the RS-232 control, one of the benefits of that is it makes it easy to integrate into control systems and be able to command the amp to do various things like that. I did see a question in the Q&A already regarding whether the P3-35 has IP control or if that is planned for the future. Ken, would you mind weighing in on that?
Yeah, so it does, no, it does not have IP control. It has RS-232. We probably will come out with an updated version, but it's not going to be for, another year or so. Back to you.
Alrighty, so there's our answer. So like he said, no, it does not have IP control currently, but we are looking into updates and upgrades and hardware changes and things like that to the amp. But at the moment, no IP control. So now taking a look at the rear panel, on the far left there, we've got a set of 6 dip switches. So we'll kind of go through each one and explain what it does, where it might be used, why we included it. So the first one there, dip switch 1, that is your your line output. So when it's set to the down position, there is no filtering on it. You might use that when you want to use your subwoofer's own external crossover, if it's adjustable or things like that. So that's if you flip it to the sub mode, that means that it will apply a 120 hertz low pass filter. So if your sub doesn't have a built-in crossover, if you don't want to bother with that, you can switch it up to the sub mode. Otherwise, as you can see on the bottom there, it'll output a line signal. So it's just a flat with no filtering. Dip switch 2, 3, and 4 are your low, mid, and high EQs. So if you want to adjust your bass, your treble, your mid, any of that, specific for your viewing pleasure, boost up the vocal frequencies a little bit. You can do that right on the amp. Next switch we've got beyond that is to switch it between 2-channel and 3-channel mode. Like we discussed before, a little more power per channel when it's set to 2-channel, but you've also got that 3-channel option if you do have a center. And then the very last switch there is switching between your analog or your optical input. And an interesting thing with the inputs there is you don't see an option for switching into Bluetooth mode. So Bluetooth will take priority. Anytime Bluetooth is connected and passing audio, it will kick into Bluetooth mode. And when the signal stops, it will revert back to whatever it's set to there. So it makes it easy where if you are not close to the amp and you just want to connect up to Bluetooth and play audio, you don't have to go flip a switch on anything or anything like that. Beyond that, we've got our optical connector, our analog connector, the status LED that displays all kinds of different colors, which are shown in the owner's manual to explain what they're doing, whether the power's on or standby, what it's decoding, Dolby, PCM, anything like that, whether the Bluetooth is enabled, all that fun stuff. And then finally, we have the on and off and the volume knob. So you click it in to power up the amp, and then the knob turns obviously to adjust the volume. So now I want to talk a little bit about how you program the remote. And when you hear that word programming, it sounds a little bit more complicated than it really is. Really, all you have to do is you plug in the IR receiver, which comes included with every amp. It just plugs in on that port over there on the left. And then we have a double-sided VHB pad that you just adhere the receiver directly to the front of the TV, the wall, the cabinet underneath, anywhere that faces the viewing area, ideally in some sort of a discrete location. You hold down the on-off volume knob for 3 seconds, which will put the amp into programming mode, and it will start flashing purple. Then what you do is you click the volume up 3 times on the remote, and then you'll get a quick flash feedback from the LED to let you know that I understood that's volume up. And then you do the same with volume down 3 times. You'll get that fast flash feedback again. And then you do the mute button 3 times, get that feedback one last time, and then it will go solid purple. And that indicates that the remote is programmed to the amp. And that is it. Now your TV remote controls the volume of the amp. Like I said earlier, you don't have an extra remote floating around on the coffee table and all that kind of thing. You just got the one TV remote that can control everything on the TV as well as the audio. And then Bluetooth pairing. The way you pair the Bluetooth, you screw on the antenna right there on the far right side. You hold the mute button on the TV remote, which will put it into Bluetooth pairing mode. You open the Bluetooth settings on your device, your phone, your laptop, your iPad, whatever it is you want to connect to it with, and you just select the name that PhaseTech that pops up, and that's it. Now any audio you send through that will go through the amp, and it will take priority over those analog or optical signals, optical inputs, like I mentioned before. So now something I want to talk about, which people that are familiar with the amp are probably going to be glad to hear this. So we do have a new firmware update ready for the amplifier, and it addresses a couple things that were pretty well-known pain points with the amplifier, and I think we're pretty satisfied with the way things are looking now with this new update. So the new upgrade we are offering adds a new Bluetooth functionality. You now can initiate pairing mode through two methods. So you can still do it the standard way with the TV remote, which is great for when the amp is mounted behind the TV and you can't directly access it. Or you can now use the volume knob to activate Bluetooth pairing. So you no longer need to program a remote to the amp in order to pair Bluetooth with any device like your phone or iPad or anything like that. So that is as we think, it's a very welcome change that will now make it a lot more capable for different installs, especially when not being used with a TV. This way you can connect to Bluetooth without having to track down the remote. Or a remote that works with it. So that leads me to the next thing. We added remote code support for a lot of the newer TV remotes, Sony, Samsung, LG, TCL, AWOL projectors, and several others. So we are trying to eliminate the issues that we know a lot of people have had with particular remotes not being compatible with the amp. Additionally, we corrected several IR learning issues. So the amp no longer should forget the remote codes and need to be reprogrammed after some period of time. They should really retain them now. And then the other thing is they're now more capable of learning new remote codes from future remotes and things like that. We shouldn't have to do firmware updates every time there's new remotes. So we are starting to roll this out basically this week. All new units shipped out of our Kansas City location will have this new firmware already on them. For existing units in the field, we are considering it a product enhancement update. So if you are interested in getting your amplifier on the newest firmware, just reach out to customer service at sales@mseaudio.com through email, or call into the main line, and we will be able to get you squared away and get your amp up on the newest firmware. And with that, I will turn it back over to Jason to finish us out here.
Thank you, Mike. And in talking to that, we wanted to talk about and address these things because as a company, with technology, you're always innovating. You're always having new updates and new things. And sometimes you as an installer are kind of the victim of what the factory does if they're not doing these things. So we're being very aware of how the technology changes. So if there's something that's not doing what you need it to do, reach out to us. Pick up the phone, call one of our local reps, call myself, call any one of our engineers or our team. We're here to help you. And that's the big thing that we try to do is make sure that, that you're the interface with that customer. We want to try to support you with every bit of materials that we possibly can. And with that, that P3-35, why we're doing this webinar now is we were doing this at the CEDIA Tech Summit. I do have to point out a couple things. One, some people are going, well, 35 watts, 50 watts, I need more power. Well, we were demoing that because we were going, well, let's see how it really sounds. Well, Ken, who's our VP of engineering, and he says, no, this thing's got plenty of power. So we connected it to our bookshelf speakers and it sounded fantastic. We were playing it at the CEDIA Tech Summits and it was just filling the room with sound. And sometimes we're running it at half level and it was doing just more than enough for what you would do in those applications. But not only do we have the P3-35, we have a commercial version called the SB335. It's very similar to that. This product can also be used not just in residential, but for commercial boardrooms, conference rooms. So if you have those applications that you're needing to do, this is a great solution for you. But we also have other amplifiers, the SA502, the MA501T, the OS440, and the P350 amplifier. So we have a lot of different amplifier solutions, as well in our commercial series of our STNet products. So hit our website and you can take a look and you're going to find a lot of different products that we have available to you. Next slide. So we also want to help you marry other products to it. And one of them is our PowerLux subwoofers. So we have these available in 10-inch and 12-inch, really great aesthetics, 900 watts peak power digital amplifier. This is a true competition performance powered subwoofer. I mean, this thing sounds fantastic. So for someone who wants a really good, solid powered subwoofer, take a look at the PowerLux subs. Next slide. Then also, this is coming out very soon. We'll be showing more of this in February and March. This is our variable length sound bar. Now, a lot of you on here are doing installs for 85-inch, 75-inch, sometimes even 100-inch screen projectors. You need a sound bar that you want something that matches with it. I got a call yesterday from a customer who needs a big sound bar like that. This variable length sound bar can be cut and made to length for your applications. So, Ken, do you want to touch on this product?
Sure. So the idea behind the soundbar is that if you have a 100-inch TV, let's say, and you give us the model number, or you give us the width on the TV, we will cut that back rail, which mounts to the wall, and we will assemble the grill to the exact length of that TV or width of that TV, so it matches up perfectly below it. And it's really, really simple to install. That rail just screws right to the wall, or you can screw it to a TV bracket that rotates. And then slide the speakers on, 2 screws, tighten it into place, and the grill just fits right over it. And on longer ones, you can add more speakers. So if you want to go short, you can use 1, 2, or 2 or 3 speakers, let's say. And if you want to have more channels, you can, on like an 100-inch, you could actually put up to 5. There's one other thing I'll just address real quick while I'm on. There was a question in the chat about streaming from Roku or Apple TV. So the idea behind these little amplifiers is that in most cases, you're going to hook them up to the output on the back of a TV, whether it's an optical, which is preferred, or an analog, a mini. And so when you play something on the TV, the sound automatically goes through the amplifier. So in that way, you're able to switch between devices, and you can use Apple TV, or you can use your Roku, or anything else that's hooked up to the TV.
Thank you, Ken. And by the way, that to that point, that's a great thing. So whatever your TV is seeing, your sound should be playing through that the P3-35 amplifier. And back to the sound bar, the variable length. Yesterday, I had one of our dealers was asking. They need a customer has a need for a white soundbar. So this grill can be done in multiple colors for you. So if you need it in white, we can do it in white. We can do it in black for you. We can do it in gray. There's a lot of different color choices that you can do. So this is a true custom soundbar for you. Next slide, Mike. Also, to reach out to us for engineering support. If you hit our website, go to engineering@mscaudio.com. If you're doing whether it be a residential or commercial application, we have a lot of solutions for you. So hit our website, and there's different software that you can even do that kind of lays out some of the different design systems applications that you're working on. But we do our own in-house consultation for you as well. So if you need anything, build out materials for a project, we can help you with that. Next slide. So again, thank you on here. Any questions? We have a Q&A. Any thoughts, questions here?
We did just get a question in the Q&A from Ray, the driver sizes of the modules on the soundbar. So in each soundbar cabinet there on the variable length one, there are 4 3-inch woofers. 2 of them are active, 2 are radiators, and then a 3/4-inch tweeter. And so that's in each of the 3 cabinets on the soundbar.
Okay. And by the way, that product is shipping in February. We will be having that out there now. So we're taking orders on this product. And you can do a really cool demo with that P3-35 with a variable length soundbar. That's a really nice product to marry together for those custom solutions. If you have questions or thoughts, reach out to any one of us, myself, Jason at mscaudio.com, Mike at MSC Audio, Ken or Taylor. We're here to help you out any way we can, and we will be sharing this presentation with you at a later date, and we look forward to seeing you on our next webinar. Thank you.
All right, I think that about wraps it up. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good week.